26, I set out on another record recon, but I wanted to have this one really spread out, and some of the neighborhoods and stuff like that to check out. The neighborhoods of Pittsburgh, at least over on the north side, I wanted to check those out versus some of the other ones.
No worries, thanks.
Anyway, headed across one of the yellow bridges. I don't even know which one this was. I did notice quite a bit of foot traffic and quite a bit of riders on the buses. And as I got over here, I realized, oh yeah, it's a game of some sort. I think it was a baseball game. Pittsburgh has all sorts of sports teams, so you can easily lose track of which one's playing on which day. Over here on this end of town, too, down by the stadiums and everything, there's a number of stone streets, so they're done up just like they were.
The other bridge already, yeah, holy shit.
200 years ago or whatever.
It's just like 10 feet.
And as I noticed there,
fiddlesticks.
I went like one block over, and it's the next bridge. And said, screw it. I just decided to walk my bike down to the path, because that's where I was trying to get to.
Derp.
And again, almost busted my ass. I'm always almost busting my ass. Got down here and started to cruise. I guess it's west with a little bit of north direction, but mostly west as of downtown. Beautiful shot of the city there. Again, another great day from a weather perspective. As I mentioned in previous episodes, every single day I was there, the weather was absolutely perfect. It was just completely flawless weather. And there I went under the bridge that I actually came across right there. And then some of the art over here by whatever these buildings are. Then I rolled down, and there's another bridge here, just like the other ones, a yellow steel bridge. This one was under construction. As I noticed right back and forth, you couldn't go across it at this point in time. They gutted out part of it, so I guess they were under some type of maintenance. And this was the area where in a previous episode I'd almost gotten screwed up because I didn't think you could go under the bridge, but they have a little detour around it and everything, so it works out. And then over to the right are the stadiums, baseball stadium, football stadium, etc. As you can tell, baseball stadium right there, baseballs, big giant baseballs. And in front of me, you can see the interstate bridge. And over to the left, you can kind of see the interstate bridge that goes back across after it hits the peninsula right there. There's the Peninsula Park, which I rode around on the first day I was there, and rode around multiple other times. But interstate bridge comes in one side, interstate bridge goes out the other side. And then there's the park in the center right there. The park is absolutely gorgeous. The way Pittsburgh has it set up, it's amazing that you aren't just deaf from the noise of the interstates. Because of the way they're set up, though, the Peninsula Park is actually quite awesome, quite peaceful. On this day, there were some other people out riding bicycles, kind of just joy riders. More random art, as cities often have. I noticed a number of people kind of bicycling from a joyriding perspective. Not really riding a bike for any commuting purposes. Just, I don't know where they came from, because there's not a lot of apartments over here or anything like that. So I guess maybe they rode out of the neighborhoods or something. And it's not like you would, I don't know. I wouldn't imagine that you would be one of those people that like puts their bike on a bike rack on a car and comes down here just to joyride like that. I don't know. I'm not really sure where they came from. I'd be curious to see what the demographic and the stats are of who's riding around on the waterfront like this. Some more random art. I love the art, by the way. I'm not like harping on it. I'm just noting it. Because anytime I'm on a trip like this, I love to go check out art. I like to go to art museums. I like to go and look at the public art as those things are, and try to figure out like what's going on. Is there a point? Is there not a point? Is it just a random thing? There's always something to it. There's a submarine again, number 481. And right around here is where the trail, you can kind of tell that you're leaving the city trail and you're getting onto like kind of a little bit of a rougher path. As you're going along, it's clearly marked as trail though, but you can tell you're leaving the downtown segment. And at this point too, it's Ohio River. It's not the Allegheny or the other one that I can't pronounce half the time. As you're going along here, it just gets rougher. And over there is the interstate or highway bridge. I forget what it is. But anyway, the bridge that I went across to get the shot of the city back against in one of the first episodes. But as you go along here, this trail is probably one of the rougher trails. And you'll see why here in just a second. I believe it's a rails trail just like all the other ones I was going on pretty much. But it gets rough. It's not like, there's not the, oh, is somebody going to jump out of a corner and stab me in the face type of rough. It's just like there's a lot of decayed buildings, run-down buildings and things like that. At the same time, there's a beauty to it. There's a lot of grown-up, trees, shrubberies, etc. on the sides there. And of course the Ohio River to the left there is beautiful. As I went along, there's a bunch of boats too. So just kind of random stuff all along this. There's industry to the right and the Ohio River to the left. But there's no industry in the river, which clearly back in the past there was. And if you take this trail and you look to the left, you'll notice there's a number of places where there's old dock moorings and things like that. So you can tell that there was industry in the river at one point in time, but no longer, not today. As I came along here, I found the sign for one of the things I wanted to check out, the Bicycle Heaven. 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. I thought, cool, perfect, and went about attempting to find it. The map kind of led me off into this industrial area, and it was a little confusing trying to figure out exactly where in the hell to go. But with a little Google mapping on the phone and kind of almost running circles or squares, I found the place. And I happened to find the other place I was looking for, which is the Get Hip record store. The Get Hip is where the music mural is, right here, that you can see. Jimi Hendrix, Elvis Presley in like a weird get-up, Buddy Holly, others on the wall. And this old brick road surface, which is kind of interesting. And then this parking lot's just kind of, it's a little weird. And then there's this section over here by the Bicycle Heaven where there's just oodles of bikes for sale. And I noticed that a lot of the bikes from the Joyriders, it looks like they would have picked them up at a place like this. Anyway, this is the Bicycle Museum. I went up, I knocked at the door. Nobody answered, so I didn't get to go in. I went over here to Get Hip Records, and it looked like it'd be a cool place. But alas, I stood around. Then I went and knocked at the door, and even though the hours say that it's open, nobody was there. Nobody came to answer the door. It wasn't open. I don't know what the deal is. So I was kind of bummed out. Like, Get Hip Records wasn't open, and Bicycle Heaven wasn't open. So I just kind of stood around, enjoyed the murals, and then after a few minutes, I just kind of headed out and went on the rest of my adventure that I had set out on to go check out the northwestern neighborhoods of the city. I got back down on the trail because I figured I'd go a couple miles more along this way. And I'm glad that I did instead of cutting up into the neighborhoods or anything like that, because I figured out a few things which you're going to get to share. I'm going to share with you here in this episode and the subsequent episodes. But as I was going along here, this is actually a very, very substantial railroad bridge, and didn't seem like any activity was going on. But as I was riding by, I heard the hum of freight engines. So right here, slammed on the brakes, You can kind of hear my rotors going to shit too. I don't know what the deal is with those. They're like brand new. But anyway, look at that beauty. Norfolk Southern, heading across the river, heading across the Ohio River. Now, if you're not a rail fan like me, you're not into the history of the country and how railroads built the country, let's just say this bridge is very important, along with Pittsburgh and its location, the Ohio River. Let's just put it this way. This area of the country had as much importance in the early development of the country as, say, like San Francisco and Tech Valley, Silicon Valley has had in the past 30 years for the United States. It is a very important, substantial area of the country, but these days, if you go and look at it, you don't always notice what was going on back in the day, because it's just considered the Rust Belt, and there's a lot of rust. But this bridge, absolutely beautiful, so I just had to take a shot and get a little video of the railroad and in operation. As I went along, though,
I guess this is an old prison?
yeah, I found this gem.
That's pretty wild looking though.
It's almost like a weird gothic feel to it or something.
So here I am riding along the Ohio River by this prison. And I ran into Winnie and Long from Portland, which cracks me up. Everywhere I go, I always run into somebody from somewhere I've lived, which is a lot of fun, really. But anyway, we talked about the homelessness there versus here, versus a little bit of Seattle and such, and how it's improving or not. Kind of an interesting topic to get people's perceptions and shit. And I'll tell you what, down over here by the prison, let me tell you, it was clearly punishment because it smells like dead shit over here. I don't know what's going on. Probably something to do with the river, knowing how the poor river has been abused over the years by poor Pittsburgh. But yeah, it's the trail kind of cuts off that I was on, the north trail or whatever, and I'm heading into the neighborhoods to figure out how to get through the neighborhood, through the park, down another trail back into town. Didn't want to come the same way or leave the same way that I was coming out here. So that's the name of the game right now.